The series starts with the MC drowning. Apparently, he has been having that nightmare for multiple nights. As he drifts away into the void of his head, a voice calls and awakes the man. To his surprise, he is locked in a cell. A girl talks to him through a glory hole. The girl alerts him to a wall of spikes closing on him slowly. Being afraid, he goes off with a girl accusing her that she's the one who put him there. But he soon learns that she's in the same situation, so he swiftly starts to think about ways to escape. After noticing the girl has an axe with her and she has no window in her room, he comes to the conclusion that he can destroy the wooden window in his cell using the Big Baba's axe. And after he promises he won't leave her behind, the plan is set in motion. However, they soon learn that the hole is too small for the thick axe to pass through. Hence, the girl tries to widen the hole, but to no avail as it's made from granite. Now hopeless, the girl cries her heart out, but based Sigma Ning tells her to shut up. Oh yes, the main character's name is Ning, and currently, he can't think clearly with all the crying. The girl can't believe that she will die too soon, even before having her first kiss. To which Ning responds, "It's easy, just approach for glory hole." Anyway, Ning asked the girl how she ended up in this place. She tells him that she fell asleep on a train, and the next thing she found was waking up in that cell next to a metal bed and a dress. Sparks Ending's heart as he now has a way out. By using a metal rod from the bed, he manages to break his window, setting himself free. While Sue the Booba is glued to the wall crying for his help as the spikes get closer on her. In a perfectly timed flashback, shows Sue's past. How she got left behind on a mountain for wanting to stick a guy who got injured. Who, in turn, also left her for not wanting to be his girlfriend. Back to track with this event, it was apparent she suffers from trust issues. Hence she gets shocked when men came back to rescue her. And after they break from their cell, he takes a look around him and realizes they are on an island. The couple was imprisoned in a lighthouse. While going down a ladder, Ning notices that it is broken in the middle, and the only way down is to jump to the other half, which he successfully does. Then hesitant, Sue jumps, landing in his arms. The ladder breaks due to the massive dem titties while falling. Ning uses his body as a human shield to protect Sue, who in turn saves him from drowning and carries him to a room on the lower floors of the lighthouse. Inside, Sue finds a dead body and encounters a budget-cut Gilgamesh who threatens her with his trusty butterfly knife, demanding to answer his questions since he suspects that she is the person behind the kidnapping. She tells him her identity and pleads to him that he could let her tend to the unconscious Ning. The pretty boy smiles and says he'll question him to see if she's saying the truth about herself. So, he steps on the poor guy's hand, waking him in a state of shock. When the blondie asks Ning if he knows the Booba, he replies that he has never seen that girl before. Savage, I know, right? However, this was not a joke. Turns out our boy suffers from amnesia caused by the nasty fall. But the gangsta is not convinced yet. So, he demands the chick explain in one word why the guy risked his life to save her, excluding love at first sight, as our tough boy here doesn't believe in that crap. After thinking hard, the girl pulls a reverse email card, asking the guy for how long he knew his oldest friend, which he answered by saying 22 years. Enter some pseudo-logic that fried my brain to the point I gave up on reading the subtitles. She convinces him, leading Ning to be set free. After collecting themselves, we see Sue trying to make Ning remember the recent events they had. But to no avail, as the last thing he remembers is him standing in the corner, reading Playboy in the 5th grade, to which the blondie compliments. Soon after, the group's attention diverts to the corpse. They kickstart analyzing it. They lay the corpse on the ground and tear its shirt, further investigating. With nothing to do, Sue asks the thug who he is. Gilgamesh responds that he works for an Eastern gang and that his name is Jang. And he suspects that a smuggler by the name Ning took and left them there, to which Ning explains that it's not the case and they are in some sort of game, indicating that our boy is starting to come to his senses bit by bit. Either that or he was bloody smart for a 5th grader. After such claims, they notice a piece of paper in the mummy's ear. It's a map that Ning vaguely knows or remembers. Which consequently makes Jen demand answers. But in the hazy phase, Ning can't deliver them. So Big Sis Sue takes him away and calmly asks him about the map, but he can't remember and eventually passes out between her arms. The next day comes. Jang wakes up the couple and informs them that they are going to the X mark point on the map, and remarks that he still doesn't trust them and proceeds to point himself as the leader of the group. After finding a man-made trap in the woods, he tells them to start gathering all the essentials they need to camp for the night, and that he will be taking half of the food and water as their newly appointed leader. At night while having dinner, well, it was more like Shiem having dinner. He takes a look at Sue in the most ratty way, charming back her voluptuous body. He orders her to make his bed in the cave and tells Ming to eat up. And whatever happens to Mount enter the cave, or he will kill him. Surely, the predictor will happen. And Sue started screaming outside. Ning is having a crisis to go in or stay out. So he decides to go in, interrupting the alpha. Despite the kicks that Sigma gets, he holds his ground and says he can't leave. And that they are a team, explaining each member's vital role through game mechanics, which leads Ning to personally get acquainted with the alpha's fist. Before he leaves the cave, Xion contemplates on Ning's words about being a team and whatnot, and concludes that they can't be the men of his enemy. Then suddenly, he hears a man shouting for help. So he sprints back to the camp. And after finding the couple is safe, they rush towards the trap location, and watch carefully as the events unfold. At some point, the girl tries to warn the man being chased about the trap ahead, but she gets silenced by Ning, who explains that the one who was after that running man hasn't appeared yet, means he's being chased by someone even scarier. Ning might bring some unwanted attention. Then Ning remarks that he came fast to protect them, making him blush. Jang tries to brush off, saying he was taking a piss nearby, which, in turn, makes the busty babe want to go to the bathroom, especially after that deadly encounter with the rat. While answering a nature call, she gets jumped by 2 tribesmen. They hold her on the ground in a rather sussy position. Meanwhile, the guys are trying to come up with a plan fast to save her. But seeing that her head will be not safe anymore and that there is another group of people they can join, Shen can't fully trust Tracy. But since she looks familiar, he lets her know that. But she brushes it off by saying there are a lot of people who look like her. Their convo gets cut short by the tribesmen who brought more numbers with him and arrows to the fight. So Tracy stays back to cover the team and tells them about a safe point where they can wait for her. At the point, she yells and instructs the team that they should T. Tracy, who's still alive and 100% sexy, arrives. She tells them with not much ammo left, the best chance for survival is to go and join the other group. To which the team agrees. After walking for a while, they arrive at the place where the rest of the group is waiting. Candy tells them they must obey their rules, and that fighting between members is not allowed, also adding if someone breaks the rules, they will get punished by exile or even death. After they all chill out, the group starts to introduce themselves. Ning, with no other option, agrees. The group visits the big ancestral structure in the middle of the forest. They decide to split up as the structure is quite evidently not their mother's crib. Ning and Xiang stay behind with the guy who voted for Xiang, while Tracy forms another group and also includes Su, and leads the expedition inside the structure. Jang puts Romeo in his place after he tries to earn his favor. Su gets a flashback where she's talking to Ning, where she reveals that she poisoned Jang. He hates her plan to abandon the rest. But Ning's heroic actions saved the day as he takes Xiang and slides into the pyramid just before the gate closes. However, Ning gets hit by a dart and neurotoxin from the cannibals. Su tells him that he has only 12 hours to live at best. But Ning isn't bothered by it and tells the crew to carry on and find the exit soon, so that they can get the antidote. Jang agrees with him as he feels guilty of his injury and is thankful for his actions as well. They all start moving forward. Every few minutes, and every time the water level rises up, one of the pillars gets submerged. Ning once again proves himself useful even as a fifth grader as he tells them that the other pillars are just distractions, and they should only go forward. As they go forward, they decide that one of them would climb up and pull the others with a rope, and that the order would be decided by a draw. As everyone carefully makes their way to the highest pillar, they see a door. After dilly-dallying a bit, they decide to open the door when there is some weight on the table right next to it. Jang reads the half-aloud writing on the wall, and explains to everyone that they need to sacrifice a person here, and leave him to die so that the door can open. Romeo suggests that they vote on it, and leave Ning there to die, since he's half dead at that point anyway. The vote goes as 6 in favor and 4 in opposition. Su doesn't like the idea but still participates since he has a plan for saving Ning. Jang then beats Romeo up and knocks him out. However, Xiang is safe and sound thanks to the water. Ning also wakes up, and he seems to be alright. The entire gang then encounters the savages, who, contrary to their previous record, don't immediately kill everyone because they recognize Gerard, and ask him about the one-eyed man, who Gerard reveals to be his master. The savages capture everyone and take them to their village. They tell them that the one-eyed man had saved them long ago with his medical skills, and they expect the same of his apprentices. The villagers are on the verge of killing everyone, when Su and the others come back with a cure. Thanks to their heroic actions, everyone is now safe, and they start heading towards the volcano as they think that's where the answers lie. An important-looking man with half of his face peeled off in a mansion gets a report on the situation of the people on the island. He tells the reporter that as long as Ning is with them, he will keep betting on their survival. An old man who looks like Gerard's master bites another one of the villagers. The chief's right-hand man tells everyone the story of how his son was killed off because he became a zombie. He then takes everyone up the hill and reveals that he had mixed some zombie organs in the soup that the new chief has to drink in the crowning ceremony, turning him into a zombie. The chief orders everyone to kill all the people that came from the outside. As everyone runs for their lives from the savages, they all get separated. Ning ends up with the savages. Ning gets some flashbacks of his pre-amnesia self and once again becomes more like his adult self. Ning runs into Xiong and forces him to go back and save the other two while he holds up the zombie monkeys. After the boys make their successful escape, Xiong comes back, scarred by the zombie monkeys. Xiong and Ning have some wholesome, brother-esque interactions as the former realizes that Ning is a natural-born leader. On the other hand, Andrew and Tracy find each other while Sue finds herself with the last. Be careful around him. After a while, the gang is climbing the volcano. They fall into a pit thanks to quicksand. As they are searching for Ishigaki, who had just recently gone missing, everyone falls down, and there they find an unconscious Ishigaki. Meanwhile, Ming's group also heads towards the volcano and they find a hot spring to soak themselves in. As they are relaxing, Gerard comes down with a malarial fever. Ming finds a cave and deduces that everyone is in there. But Gerard says that he cannot continue. He states that he would draw all the food in his hand, as everyone's already going through a food crisis. After stopping a fight, Ning and the others come back to where Sue, Ao, and Ishigaki are. Ming takes Sue to the place where he left Xiong and the professor. However, they are nowhere to be seen. Now the gang then decides to look inside the facility for them. After Ishigaki wakes up, after opening a few doors, the gang finds a bunch of supercomputers. And Ishigaki says that it's his time to shine since he turned out to be the chief of the lab. They take a small diary with torn-up pages in between. When Andrew says that he just saw someone running outside, so he has to chase it. Then we cut to the sexy ladies and one fellow who wet his pants a few days ago. They are once again getting chased by a man. He traps the ladies by barring the doors and kills Ding. Frankly, a very big favor. The girls find a way to escape the barred doors, but the guy, supposedly Andrew, knows the layout of the facility and thus is able to trap Tracy. He brings not just the hand, but the entire body to the control room. However, the anime ends before we are able to see if he made it in time or not. The end. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more